Hello. I'm just gonna go into my quick impressions of season 2 of Hilda, a show I like very, very much. I am in love with it. It is so good. I should say, though, I've been failing to do so in previous videos. A spoiler alert. Because, yeah, might go into a few things. I'm gonna save one thing, hint at it in the vaguest sense, but not go into it. That'll be much later. Overall, I do think this season of Hilda was very good. Off the top of my head, I was trying to recall what I thought was the weakest episode, and I kind of wanted to say the very first episode of the season, but then I realized, wait, no, that's just because I'm remembering more from the other episodes, but it's they had more going on. Whereas what I remember from the first episode being your introduction, to Hilda yet again for new season, taking care of some magical stuff. Then you meet the safety patrol people, and then have that thing, and then they get into trouble. You remember those three things and you think, oh, is that something I'm forgetting? Is it just not as memorable? It's no. It's the first episode of the season. They're just setting up the series plot, the overarching thing that makes it serialized as opposed to episodic. That's what this episode is for, and it does it well. Just in comparison to every other one that has so many more balls juggling in the air, you just kind of think for a second, is this one not as good? But I'm repeating myself now. Anyhow, should also mention, recording this at the end of my day after I've just drunken some chamomile tea. So I may mess up a few times like that and get a little bit loopy. Apologies in advance, but hey, hopefully it's entertaining. What's it? Woodman is there again. Delight. It's always fun to see him and Hilda play off each other. Always makes for great interactions. Yeah. I mean, he's pretty much just doing the same thing again, and you can probably see from the posters and whatnot. He gets separated from his bodies, but that's on all the marketing material, so it's not that big a spoiler. Yeah, what else I want to go? Something about the season. It does go a bit more darker, which, for me personally, I love. I just love it. Mixing that wholesomeness with just, a dark, chilling Adventures of Sabrina vibe, whilst not losing the wholesomeness, A lot of fun, and it really makes it the season very memorable. What else? A few examples of that, episode 4, The Eternal Warriors. You basically have two groups of Vikings, or stand-ins for them, just locked into eternal battle with each other, dying and getting risen from the dead by this swamp creature, I want to say, or at least something adjacent to that. And it's he's just doing for the lock of it, and Hilda and Frida are just worried about that, thinking it's unfair to them. When they find out, they're having a good laugh about it too. I kind of love that. I can't remember her name off the top of my head. Can I pull it up real quick? Or no, just the main characters there. Already taken too long. Scientist woman from the weather station last season. She makes a return, and I really like that episode. She has a little golem. Oh god, what are they called? The things from Nowhere Space. Nesu? I want to say something like that. Anyhow, she has a little golem one of those, and it's so much fun. And oh god, that was a great episode. Yeah, I'm already starting to get a bit drowsy. Yay! One thing I will say that I wasn't the biggest fan of is just kind of like, we learn more about the witches in this show, discover them. I'm itchy for some reason. Who could say why? Anyway, we learn more about them, and basically Frida kind of gets taken into the ranks, but then it's like Hilda isn't and doesn't really get a chance to progress in magic in her own way at all. And that's, not as fun given like what we saw her doing in the first season and like how she typically fits into the mold in a very good way. Would be a lot of fun to see her like learning bits magic and just having a more kind of, like, I don't want to say like full-on druid vibe from like D&D or whatever. Well, that's like my only context for it, so. But be a far more naturey witch. That would have been nice. And like it just gets kind of worse because like instead of being like just her own thing, she's then said to be Frida's familiar. And like it's played off nicely between the two characters, but like it's just not the funnest dynamic, doesn't have the most story potential, just deliberately tying one hand behind your back there. Especially because like who takes like Frida in is kind of like a very powerful outside witch that's not fully involved with the witch academy going on there in the underground tower under the library, if I haven't said that. So you think, oh well, she'll like take up Frida. Not that's what happens, but the outside witch, who is Hilda's neighbor, it would take her under her wing and teach her what she's learned, and Frida would be more of like a Hermione type, learning in the academy. Was it ever named the academy? It's like the tower in general, and people are taught there. Either way, just the more Hermione type learning there in the tower, but no, the ones in charge there don't want to take Frida in after complimenting her skills, and it's then Hilda's neighbor has to step in and say, I'll teach her. It's like, yeah, I've said it before, just not the best story dynamic, and you could have had both of them be very potent witches in their own way. Right. Oh god, no, I was not prepared for those words together. Very potent witches in their own right. There we are. Instead, Frida's Hilda, both in A's. Hilda's the familiar to Frida, despite Hilda having her own familiar, which you find more about in the season as well. That is nice. I don't really want to spoil that, because it would just be a rundown synopsis about stuff going on with a non-verbal character, and that's just kind of like funner to just witness, I'll just say it's very good, and it makes me even happier that Twig and Hilda are together. Speaking of Hilda having connection with her life, I was kind of worried. Well, not worried, but like Alpha wasn't being quite as used as much. But then there's like an episode towards the end of the season that really hammers home his importance to Hilda. He's not just there, taking down notes and and a friend to help out in adventures. He's a part of her family now, and she does not want him to leave. And that was like one of the most heartwarming episodes, to me at least, from this season. What was I? Last thing I wanted to go into is the dynamic between Hilda and Joanna, I believe, her mother. There's like two things. But particularly happy with about how that works. First is like Hilda's kind of lying to her at times, not massively, but just does not want to constantly inform her mother of like all the stuff she's doing, and just kind of selectively leaves stuff out, or just, you know, says she's with a friend doing something, which isn't always untrue, but you know, once she goes into what exactly they're doing, she fibs it about doing homework or doing scouts activity instead of her normal adventures. And like eventually one of them does get to the point where Joanna finds out about what she's doing because it's made the news, because Eldritch Horror underneath the sea there awakens and needs to be calmed down. Which, you know, just par for the course of this show. But she finds out about that and just like immediately goes into like grounding Hilda, and like, I'm American, but I also like spent a lot of my my cognitive formative years outside of the US, and like my response to that was like, that's an American thing. Because like grounding is just kind of like trying to imitate capital punishment, but like that's for someone who is a grown adult who knows they've done something wrong and does not care, and needs to have like rules in place to punish those kinds of people, to deter other people, and also just to like stop them from continually doing bad things. Or with like a child, you kind of have to teach them and instill morals and values into them. And like just straight up grounding them just doesn't really do that. It just teaches them to fear getting caught. But yeah. God, what was it? Just trying to get my thought there. It is neat though. They do go into like a mall in the next story. It's an interesting one. I don't want to spoil that one too much, because like time travel stuff is all I would say, and stories like that, recaps may not always be the best. So like, and this is like an impressions video now. At some point I do want to do proper reviews of these, so you know, wait till then. For now, I'd strongly recommend checking out that episode as well. Yeah, they do tie it into like the thing I said is missing about just grounding children, instilling morals and values into them, is like in the next episode about like a parent just caring for them and trying to do what's best. And it's like always easy to communicate or explain that. And sometimes it just needs to be taken on faith. But moving on to like the second thing I had the problem with between the two of them is just it's for the finale that I said I don't want to spoil too much. Cliffhanger at the end of the episode I'm talking about that I don't want to spoil, but does make me very interested for like the next season or potentially a movie. But back to what I had a problem with. Basically, Hilda is doing something for Frida, collecting things, goes back to her place real quick, and her mother is there without like any coordination with Hilda about doing a game night. And Hilda is just trying to be like, sorry, I've already made other plans, I have to get this done. And her mother is just kind of like, no, this can wait, I've gotten very excited about this game and we're gonna play it. And it kind of leads to a fight between them. And like Hilda does say some mean things there, but like, you know, she is kind of a child who is getting frustrated, you know? She's like 12 years old, I think. And mean, she may be a little bit on the young side for me to say this. Her time is her own and is valuable, you know? Like a child does not live solely to fulfill the needs of or entertain their parents. They have their own drives and motivations and agendas and duties to take care of. Maybe less so at Hilda's age, but like that's still true fundamentally. And it just wasn't the best, for a mother just to throw down her authority, just to say, I want to do this. I didn't communicate with you at all, but we're having it my way. Then again, that may just be a very focused pet peeve I have due to my own relationships with my father. But anyhow, I think that covers everything. It's like, I don't think either of those were too bad. Like, the episode itself was very good. Like, could make some jokes, but I'll save that for the review, But yeah, overall, this season was very good. It was a delight to watch it. My only, not complaint, because I've just spent no, I listed off 3 of them. I just wish there was more, Doesn't everybody, when they have a show they really like, even when there's things they can talk for 5 minutes about, or they wish it was a bit different, you just wish for more. God, there's this bad old episodes of Doctor Who, show I dearly love, from 70s and 80s, but gosh darn it, aren't I glad to have them as a fan who got into it and knew Who and then went back to watch all that. Even if it's still bad, I was still happy to have it. Well, that's the best way I can think to wrap that up. Sign off. What is a sign off I could do? Well, just subscribe to my gaming channel on YouTube, Sod Passion Gaming, and it is the same thing on Twitch if that's what you prefer. Oh no, I'm deconstructing the pronunciation of the word. You could go to Twitch and watch me there if that's where you like gaming content. And now, as I'm starting to lose all focus and I'm really starting to slur my words, I'm gonna say bye and let you go to the outro. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, share the video about the place, and if you've watched me a few times or just really like me, consider subscribing and looking at my Patreon. Ta-ta.